The stars were shining, the room filled with laughter. I had just won the humorous speech contest. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Tonight, I will take you back in time and tell you what happened after the contest. I raced home in 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 22 seconds to show my wife the shiny new trophy. She locked me out. She hates when I come home late from Toastmasters. I needed to make a change and devised a plan. I would use everything I learned in Toastmasters in the real world and spread the Toastmasters spirit. My first opportunity arose the next day at the most important business meeting of my entire life. As the president began speaking, I quickly took out my notepad and took notes. Eventually, he asked for my assessment. I took a deep breath and began. First, I thanked everyone for coming to the meeting on time. Then I pointed to the company's banners and how nice they were. Finally, I praised the president for introducing a theme and for coming prepared with tons of intriguing questions to ask everyone. I then suggested that some of the managers did not get to the point, and this caused the meeting to run over time. But overall, it was a very good meeting, and I looked forward to the next one. For some reason, they threw me out of the building. I was only trying to help. When I got home, my wife was waiting. "Have you lost your mind?" As she screamed at me, I quickly took out my notepad and took notes. Eventually, she said, "Well, what do you have to say for yourself?" I took a deep breath and began. "Oh, sweetheart, that was a terrific opening. You asked a personal question. Have you lost your mind?" I was intrigued and wanted to hear more. Also, great gestures. When you made those fists, I thought you were going to knock me out. Well done. Now I love you, but I have a few suggestions for improvement. First, your speech was a bit disorganized and hard to follow. I suggest sticking to 2 or 3 main points. Also, use more vocal variety. You scream the whole time. Lowering your voice adds contrast. Finally, terrible use of props. When you threw that TV at me, that was dangerous. For some reason, she threw me out of the house. I was only trying to help. I raced to the Ralph's Medley Motel and asked for a room. And this was another opportunity to spread the Toastmasters spirit. I praised the receptionist on her beautiful voice and suggested that her speech could be enhanced if she spoke with her body. I showed her some examples of how she could speak with her body, but for some reason, she called the police. And they threw me in their squad car for harassment. I was only trying to help. During the trial, the prosecutor asked me random interrogation questions. Table topics prepared me well. For example, he said, "How many times have you been to the Smedley Motel?" I didn't want to say just once. That would be too short. So instead, I told him about the hotel we went to in Hawaii. And what a great time we had on our honeymoon. I answered every question in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I didn't say or so, a single time. During the prosecutor's 20-minute closing argument, I quickly took out my notepad and took notes. When he finished, I decided to give my own closing argument. Your Honor, great eye contact. You pointed me out and told all of the jurors to look me in the eye. That is a way to connect. Also, excellent visual aids. Every time I open my mouth, you slam that gavel. I thought your table was going to break in half. Now I would humbly like to make a few suggestions. First, your humor was a bit flat. When you said this man is guilty, no one laughed. That clearly was not funny. Also, your time, 20 minutes is too long. You probably didn't notice this card. When you see this card, you have 30 seconds to wrap up. For some reason, the judge was furious and threw me in jail for 20 years. I was only trying to help. As I sat in my cold, damp cell, the prison guard said, "Hey, what are you in for?" I told him, "I'm just a DTM, a detained Toastmaster." Year after year, I sat in my cell and looked through the CC manual with my magnifying glass trying to find an answer. Finally, I found it. On the bottom of page 82, there's fine print. It says, "Warning, whatever you do, never attempt to use your Toastmaster skills in the real world. This can be dangerous and have unpredictable consequences, such as financial loss, headaches, ruined relationships, hair loss, skin rashes, and trouble with the law." When I broke out of prison this morning, I wandered the streets and prayed for help. Then my phone rang. It was Lev Lubarsky. I was very afraid. I slowly took out my notepad and took notes. That's great news. I've raced to tonight's meeting, and everyone was here. Mr. President, the judge, my wife, and the hotel receptionist, Lisa. Lisa, you finally learned how to speak with your body. Mr. President, you started a club at the company, and now all of the managers get to the point. Judge Judy, you joined Humorous Toastmasters and developed a sense of humor. And my darling wife, Hillary, you won the International Speech Contest and became the world champion of public speaking. I'm so proud of everyone. Spreading the Toastmasters spirit really does help people to change their lives. Just imagine how wonderful this world would be if we all just try to help.
Thank you, Bruce. So now we're only going to try to help you. So let's put one. No, we're going to do a round robin. So we're not going to put any time on the clock. I'll give you 10 seconds to come up with some of your thoughts. One thing he did really well and one area of improvement. And everybody will literally have about 30 seconds to speak, and we're going to time this for 5 minutes. Okay, so we are going to start on this side of the room. Yeah, so raise your hand. You can just raise your hand if you have some comments for Bruce. Now keep in mind, everybody, he's preparing this for a contest, so let's be as positive and also constructive as possible.
thoroughly enjoyed his humor. It was quite bold and very refreshing. The only suggestion I might have that was quite elementary was the only description that was not permitted in this speech was that of his wife throwing items at him. So next time, maybe a little description, dodging, dipping, diving, might actually help. Thank you.
We'll do one clap at the end, so if moving things along. This is who I really am.
I like Bruce's pattern. I mean, we knew where it was coming, so it wasn't like we were searching for the punchline. We knew what the rhythm was, and then we just were excited to see how he's going to shape it. And then suggestion would be wait for the Toastmaster to sit before he starts.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeping this way. Anybody, any gentle, loving comments for Bruce?
I noticed that you went over time.
Oh, yeah. I did it on purpose.
Oh, good.
I added it.
I really enjoy his pausing and his movements from one side to the other in terms of the speaking area. The other suggestion I would make is with your hands. Sometimes, Bruce's hands, sometimes it felt like the movements weren't always necessary with his hands. So the T-Rex thing kind of happened a little bit. So I would just say if you don't really have a movement that's necessary for it, put your hands down instead of having them like this. But overall, great job. Hilarious.
Quick comment. I think it's extremely creative. I love the humor. I love the humor. Very funny. The only thing I might do is vary the vocal variety a little bit, because it seemed to kind of one note throughout in terms of, so maybe just like, oh my God, or put in prison or something more. That's my only suggestion.
I saw your speech when you were competing in the contest, and I love it even more now. I love how you incorporated your wife's voice, and you had her kind of crackling. More of that, and the other suggestion I'd have, you described last time that she had like a bulging vein, and that imagery just stuck with me. I'd incorporate that in.
Anybody else that we missed? We want to be inclusive to everyone. Anna, please share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce, thank you so very, very much for coming. It's absolutely hysterical. I love your organization of it and how you explain Toastmasters in a humorous way. One thing I did notice, you seem to spend a little bit too much time here, so I would just be conscious of movement. Okay? Thank you.
And Janine, did you have something else?
Sorry, just fixing my hair.
Oh. Minion here, it'll get you. And Bruce, I've seen this speech before, and I thought it's brilliantly written, definitely. My only suggestion is, I thought some of the theatrics weren't necessary because it's so well written. So like I was running, and then I grabbed, I don't think you need that, because it's such a wonderful speech. So I didn't think it was necessary. I think some other people would think it adds. I didn't think it was necessary. Okay. Any final comments? Great. And we are under time. Round of applause. Woo-hoo!